Officer slammed a black CEO against his limo. 10 minutes later, the mayor called him personally. "Hands on the car, now." The shout tore through the quiet morning air outside the Hyatt Regency in downtown Chicago. Traffic paused, conversations halted, and the few cameras on nearby phones began to roll. David Langston, dressed in a tailored navy blue suit, blinked in disbelief as Officer Reed shoved him hard against the side of his black stretch limo. "I said, hands on the damn car," Reed barked again, yanking David's wrist behind his back with no regard for the gold cufflink that popped off and clattered to the pavement. David winced. "You're making a mistake," he said, voice calm but tight. "I'm not resisting. I don't care who you think you are," Reed spat. "Suspicious loitering, tinted windows, possible drug activity. You match a description." David's driver, an older man named Ramon, tried to speak up from the other side of the limo. "Officer, that's Mr. Langston. He—" "Back up or you're next," Reed shouted, unholstering his taser with a twitchy hand. David exhaled slowly, his cheek pressed to cold metal. He could feel the eyes, hotel doormen, pedestrians, even a child peeking out from a bus window, watching a black man get manhandled in front of his own vehicle. Watching, but not stepping in. 10 minutes ago, David Langston had stepped out of that same limo preparing for a critical meeting with city officials. He was the CEO of Langston Tech, a rising powerhouse behind the city's new infrastructure contracts, smart lighting, traffic systems, school safety upgrades. Today was the deal-closing handshake with the mayor. Instead, he was getting frisked on live video by a jittery white cop who saw a black man in a luxury suit and assumed drug dealer. Reed's fingers dug into David's pockets. "What's this? Cash? Drugs?" David turned his head slightly. "That's a wallet. Gold embossed like my watch. But maybe you missed that while profiling me." Reed yanked it out. The leather was polished, the initials DL clearly engraved. As Reed flipped through the cards, his eyebrows twitched. The first card, David Langston, CEO, Langston Tech. The second, City Advisory Board, Member at Large. Then the badge, an honorary commissioner's pass issued by the mayor's office. Reed stiffened. "I tried to tell you," David said, his voice sharper now, "but you were too busy flexing your badge and your ignorance." Just then, a second squad car rolled up. A female officer stepped out, younger, Latino, eyes wide as she took in the scene. Her gaze dropped to the ID, the limo, then to David's pressed suit and scraped cheek. "Reed," she said carefully, "this might be bad." But it was already worse than that, because just then, David's phone, lying on the ground near the broken cufflink, buzzed. Ramon, still shaken, picked it up and looked at the screen. "It's the mayor," he said quietly. Reed paled. "What?" David slowly turned. "Put it on speaker," he said to Ramon. Ramon obeyed. A sharp voice pierced through. "David, are you all right? I'm getting footage sent to my office. What the hell is going on down there?" Reed's face drained of color. His hand twitched near his belt again as if unsure whether to flee, apologize, or deny everything. David didn't miss a beat. "Mayor Sanchez, would you care to repeat that on speaker, for Officer Reed's benefit?" There was a pause, then the mayor's voice dropped into a slow, icy rhythm. "Officer Reed, this is Mayor Elena Sanchez. You are to remove your hands from Mr. Langston right now and offer a full apology in the presence of witnesses, and then report to my office for disciplinary review, immediately." Reed swallowed hard. "Yes, ma'am." His voice was barely a whisper as he stepped back, hands trembling. David straightened his suit, rolling his shoulders. His jaw clenched. "You ever slam another man against his own property without cause, and next time it won't be a phone call. It'll be a courtroom." Reed nodded, lips pressed together, shame cutting into his pride. The crowd had grown. Someone across the street shouted, "We got the whole thing, bro!" Another person cheered. Phones were up. The internet was waiting. David picked up his cufflink, pocketed his ID, and stepped into the limo. But he wasn't done. Inside, he tapped a single number on his phone. "Franklin," he said, speaking to his lead counsel, "I want every second of that video. Pull the Hyatt security feed, too. And call press. We're going public. I'm done letting these people treat us like suspects for being successful." Franklin's voice came back instantly. "Already on it. Social's blowing up. You're trending." "Good," David said. Time they learned. What the public didn't know yet was that David Langston was already in talks to oversee police AI accountability systems in 5 cities, including Chicago. The contract, still in draft, had one clause that would allow Langston Tech to flag and publicly report discriminatory behavior in real time if passed. And now, thanks to Reed, the mayor had no choice but to push that contract through. By 6 p.m. that evening, the story was everywhere. Black CEO wrongfully slammed by cop outside City Hall. Footage aired on every major network. Public outrage exploded. Reed was placed on immediate unpaid suspension. Civil rights groups rallied behind David. But more importantly, the city council met in an emergency vote and passed the Langston Bill, greenlighting real-time police accountability tech. A week later, Officer Reed gave a stiff public apology on live TV. David watched it from his office, arms folded. "Funny," he muttered. "Sometimes justice doesn't wear a robe. Sometimes it wears a tailored suit." He turned to the window, the skyline reflecting off the glass. For years he'd played it safe, tried to be the respectable one. But today proved something different. Respect wasn't given. It was taken back with receipts, cameras, and strategy. And sometimes with a phone call from the mayor. Disclaimer: this story is a fictional dramatization created for entertainment purposes only.